Aram, I'm going to do my best Bruce Buffer impression. It's time for the weekend roundup where we go through every game that was over the past weekend. Welcome to the final month of the MLB regular season. It is Monday, September 1st. That's Aram Layton, and I am Peter Apple, and it's all brought to you by the sportsbook born in Vegas. Remember, folks, download BetMGM, whether that be on iOS or Android, and use promo code JUSTBASEBALL. Why? First bet offer up to $1,500 back in bonus bets if your first wager loses. Just remember, gambling problem, call or text 1-800-GAMBLER. Must be 21 years or older. Terms and conditions apply. We're back. We're back to the weekend roundup. It's been a while. That's why I had to break out the Bruce Buffer. At first, I thought it was Bruce Banter. I had to ask you, and that's the Hulk. I already messed it up, but we're back.
Yeah, I think the way it's gone, it's probably been about a month since we've got a good actual roundup in. So excited to do it, and a lot of weird series, I would say, in a fun way.
A lot of weird series as well. The floor is yours.
We'll start with probably one of the wackiest series I think that we had this week, 4-game series. I know Jack will talk about it because it's Marlins Mets, and he had a lot of wild stuff going on. It's also just some crazy scores. But game one, Marlins win 7-4. It was Clay Holmes versus Adam Major, his first start since June 18th. 3 runs in the third and seventh innings really charged the Marlins. The Mets played poor defense with 3 errors. Jacob Marcy, Liam Hicks, and Otto Lopez each had 2-hit performances. Lopez drove in 2 runs. Major was solid. They didn't ask too much of him, but he did well in what they asked. 4 innings, 4 hits, 2 earned, 1 walk, 2 Ks. Holmes allowed only 2 earned runs over 5 innings, but one of the unearned runs was his own error. So that's a whole conversation in itself always. But yeah, Marlins win that one 7-4. Game 2 was crazy. And I think going into it, if you told most people Yuri Perez versus Jonah Tong in his MLB debut, they'd probably say, oh, low scoring game right now. 19-9 was the final score. Yuri Perez didn't make it out of the first inning. Jonah Tong was really sharp overall. But yeah, Yuri gets chased. 5 earned runs that the Mets put up on the Marlins young right-hander. Juan Soto and Brandon Nimmo homered in the first. Nimmo homered again in the sixth. That was his 22nd homer of the year. Pete Alonso also hit his 31st home run. Mark Vientos added one off of a position player as well. But Jonah Tong was the big story. He went 5 innings, 6 hits, 1 run, no walks, 6 Ks. He could have went deeper. Mets defense was bad again behind him, and they made him work really hard for that first big league win, but the Mets even the series there at 1-1 with that 19-9 win. Then in game 3, this was another slugfest. You had 19 total runs. Again, in a game where it's Edward Cabrera versus David Peterson, you'd think maybe it would be lower scoring. Neither were sharp. This time it was a 5-run first inning for the Marlins that got them off to a hot start. And then at one point, we're up 8-2, but the Mets kept fighting back in large part to Juan Soto, who homered twice. His 2-run shot in the 6th knotted things up at 8, but Connor Norby and the Marlins answered back as he hit a sac fly in the 7th, 2 RBI double in the 9th, and the Marlins were able to hold on and win 11-8. Cabrera allowed 5 earned runs in 4 innings pitched. David Peterson allowed 8 earned runs in 2 innings pitched. Game 4. Marlins win 5-1. Sandy Alcantara was fantastic again over Kodai Senga. The Marlins got up 5-1 and never looked back. Augustin Ramirez hit a 112-mile-per-hour laser beam, 2-run shot, and Kodai Senga continues to struggle. Didn't look very sharp in this one as well. Sandy Alcantara, 7 innings, 4 hits, 1 run, 1 walk, 6 Ks, a 1.66 ERA in his last 4 starts. This is the Sandy that we know and love. This is Cy Young caliber Sandy, the way he's looked over the last handful of starts, and really punctuated a fun series for the Marlins, starting to play spoiler here. They take 3 out of 4 from the Mets in Queens.
You guys already talked about it on the last episode, and the way you and Jack broke it down, you were totally right? It's the command of that changeup. And when he's throwing 99 and he's placing that changeup wherever he wants, it looks like the guy who won a unanimous National League Cy Young. But my big takeaway is Juan Soto is a scary man when he's seeing the ball well.
Yep.
An absolutely terrifying at bat for the opposing pitcher. He's doing that thing again where he walks more than he strikes out. He's got 10 home runs this month, which might not even be updated because, again, we are recording on Sunday, so all the numbers might not be in place. But how about the stolen bases? He's going to be a 30 stolen base guy. He's up to
What the hell? I didn't even know
20.
that.
He's up to 26 on the year,
That's
Aram,
crazy.
and he's got an OPS over 1,000 this month. He flashed this kind of in spurts, most notably in June, where he put up an OPS near 1,200, but it hasn't been the 181 WRC plus that he put up with the Yankees last year. So it feels like a disappointment. But that's how generational Juan Soto is. A 152 WRC plus and a 40-30 season is kind of a disappointment for him.
Yeah.
He's just, I mean, he's not worth 700 plus million, but
Maybe he is. Who
maybe he
knows?
is. He is so good when he's on, and he is on right now.
I think Mets fans don't really have much concern about the offense in general at this point. I mean, Kodai Senga now 5.4 ERA since he's come back, off of the IL. It's been worse of late, and that's not including, excuse me, the last start. So now that's probably up over 6. And then you also just have this defense that does not look good in general. I think that's probably the areas where Mets fans are looking and saying we need to sharpen it up there. But they're still in the driver's seat here. We'll see how things go. But the season does end with 3 games against the Marlins in Miami. And historically, the Marlins have done a good job of playing spoiler for the Mets. So we'll see what happens.
Any remaining thoughts on Jonah Tong's debut?
I thought he was awesome. And the biggest thing is, you saw him get out to early without punching a bunch of guys out, a lot of weak contact. And then I think what stood out to me is, he's going to get his whiffs. He's going to strike guys out. But you don't know how young pitchers are going to battle through adversity. And it was adversity that he didn't inflict on himself. He didn't walk anybody. He got 5 outs basically in that 5th inning before actually getting out of it. The fact that he wasn't really phased, he was able to stay and maintain his composure. He got a little bit of help from the umpire behind home plate, but he put himself in a position to do so. And I think with the defense booting it around behind him in his first big league start, with all the anticipation, I thought it was really impressive that he was able to hunker down. Yes, it helps when you have a big lead, but still, that he was able to hunker down there and get himself his first career win.
Nolan McLean, and Jonah Tong are the 2 best pitchers on the Mets, especially with Peterson and Senga struggling right now. It's crazy.
They are definitely the guys that I'd feel best about right now. I can tell you that much.
So if we get to a playoff series, I'm not telling you to make an answer right now. It's impossible to make an answer. Like, I don't envy David Stearns. I don't envy Carlos Mendoza with those decisions. Like, you'd assume Manaea game 1? Mets fans, let us know in the YouTube comments below.
I think
Is it Tong and McLean?
Fink would tell you McLean game 1, I think. I'm not even kidding.
Damn.
I'm not even kidding. And I get it with the way he's looked.
Looks disgusting.
The Red Sox have maybe a decision to make too, with the way that Peyton Tolley looked in his big league debut and how much they want to utilize him. And that series was interesting. And game 1, I think, did not underwhelm at all. Like, I thought it delivered when you got Paul Skeens versus Peyton Tolley, Pirates, Red Sox at Fenway. Game 1 was everything you wanted from those two, I think. You get Paul Skeens pitching like Paul Skeens, but Roman Anthony also got to him with a solo shot in the 5th. But finally, the Pirates battled back for their guy, scoring 3 in the 6th to chase Tolley and 1 more in the 8th for insurance. Andrew McCutchen was awesome, 3 for 3 with 2 doubles. Tommy Pham added a double, 2 RBI, and 2 walks. But Peyton Tolley was fantastic overall. 5 1/3, 3 hits, 2 earned, 2 walks, 8 Ks. Just an electric fastball. I mean, with his adrenaline pumping too and sitting closer to the upper 90s, that was an 80 grade fastball, and he was overwhelming hitters with it. The slider, curveball off of it, dominant. I'm excited to see him get more opportunity for that Red Sox pitching staff. He looks like he can be effective, as we talked about, right away, and he was. Game 2, Pirates win 10-3, and I should go back. Pirates won game 1 4-2. Game 2, Pirates win 10-3. Johan Oviedo versus Dustin May. A 3-run 5th and 5-run 6th buried the Red Sox. O'Neill Cruz homered. Nick Gonzalez had 2 hits and 2 RBI. Brian Reynolds and Tommy Pham each drove in 2. Dustin May, 5 1/3, 8 hits, 6 earned, 4 hits, 5 strikeouts, or 4 walks, 5 strikeouts, excuse me. Johan Oviedo, 5 innings, 3 hits, 2 earned, 3 walks, 6 Ks. So Pirates really all over him in that game. Game 3, Red Sox able to salvage the series there. Mitch Keller versus Lucas Giolito both threw the ball pretty well, but Jarren Duran's 3-run inside the park home run was the difference. Nate Lowe also had a multi-hit game. Giolito was effectively wild. 6 innings, 3 hits, 1 earned, 5 walks, 6 Ks. Mitch Keller was great, but unfortunately wasn't enough. Once it went to the 6th inning onward, and that's where they were able to get to that Pirates bullpen. But Keller, 5 innings, 4 hits, no runs, 1 walk, 7 Ks. Pirates take 2 out of 3, though. That said, it still felt like an exciting series overall, although disappointing for the Red Sox when you get Peyton Tolley coming out like that, and fortunately able to salvage with Game 3.
So I want to talk about Peyton Tolley in a second, but I want to talk about the Dustin May trade for a second. And it doesn't feel like we're being a Monday morning quarterback, right? After the results happen, we say, oh, what a terrible trade. We said it the minute it happened. We came onto the show and all three of us were perfectly aligned. We had no idea why they would do it. Now, if you're going to trade James Tibbs and you feel that you can work with Dustin May over a few years and really unlock something, no, he's a free agent. Made absolutely no sense to me then, makes absolutely no sense to me now. You know, he's had a little bit of a pitch usage tweak, and it hasn't worked, Arm. I still don't get it.
Yeah, the one devil's advocate I've seen, because I don't get it either, is that there wasn't much pitching out there. So that was like one of the few rental arms that they could get. Any other rental arm would have been too expensive. The controllable arms were way too expensive, but you still ended up overpaying for a rental arm that's not making a positive impact for you. So I don't really understand it. I know that they probably assumed he'd make a little bit more of a positive impact, but it's really hard to make arsenal tweaks and really shift things for a guy who hasn't thrown a lot in the last couple of years, period, in a matter of months. So doesn't look like a great trade, has not aged well in the short term, and it doesn't have a lot more time to age any better. So I'm with you. I don't get it.
So Peyton Tolley, I wasn't very familiar with his game, right? You and Jack talked about him. Obviously, I saw, the write-ups on your prospect lists and all that, but it was really my first time watching him. And I was so impressed with how he challenged hitters with the fastball. A 60% usage on that pitch. After the game, opponents hit 0.77 against it. But what makes it even more impressive is that he only threw 14 off-speed pitches.
Yeah.
I guess I would classify the cutter as not an off-speed pitch. I would classify it as a different variation of a fastball. So he was like 85% fastball cutter. Is that normal for him? I mean, it was working. I'm not, we posted a 38% strikeout rate in that start. But I was just surprised. It was like fastballs and cutters just challenging hitters.
It's weird though, because he normally he's been throwing that slider at like upper 80s, more like 86, 87, 88, and then all of a sudden he's ripping these 90-mile-an-hour more cutterish sliders. So that was different. But the fastball, man, like he's gonna come at you with that all day, and that's how I can't blame him. He's getting nearly 8 feet of extension from a bizarre arm angle that hitters aren't used to seeing, getting crazy ride and throwing now into the upper 90s. I mean, opponents are hitting 164 against his fastball this year. So he felt good about that. He knows that's what got him there. And I love that he trusted it because, like we talked about when we were saying Kyle Harrison or him, I loved Tolley as a guy to come up and get that opportunity because that's a guy that can go with his fastball, even if he doesn't have the feel for the secondaries, and use it heavily and get through 5 innings, no problem. And it's exactly what he did.
And I don't want to be a prisoner of the moment, but watching Giolito and Tolley go back to back, I'm like, I know who I want game 2.
Yeah.
I know there's Bayo there too, who's been a really solid guy, but it's like the stuff plays. I mean, it's 98 at the top of the zone, daring you to hit it. And I know it was the Pirates, so I'm really, interested in seeing him against better competition, but still.
He's definitely a weapon for you, one way or another. And I'm excited to see what their plan is and how they decide to utilize him. But Giolito may have earned the game 2 non.
He definitely has.
Yeah.
I'm just saying I know what I saw, and I'm saying it without saying it right now.
Yeah, he's a weapon for them. No way around it. And that's the most exciting part is, look, this is a team that felt like they needed to go move a James Tibbs to go get Dustin May. And now They have a guy from within they're able to promote who's probably going to end up playing a bigger role for them than Dustin May. So that's pretty exciting.
We're going to see a lot of mustaches in Fenway Park.
Oh yeah,
And come October, a
yeah,
lot of them.
this is gonna be fun. Orioles versus Giants. A lot of runs in this one as well.
Tons.
Game one, Giants win 15-8. And the Giants are like teeing off all of a sudden, kind of feeling like where was this? A little bit earlier. But Dean Kramer and Robbie Ray both got shelled. Willie Adames and Luis Matos each had 4 hits. Both Matos and Dom Smith homered. Smith had 4 RBIs. Rafael Devers and Drew Gilbert each had 2 hits. And every Giants hitter picked up at least 1 hit in that game. They win 15-8. Then flip it back the other way in game two. Orioles win 11-1. Trevor Rogers versus Carson Seymour. Willie Adames homered for the first run of the game, and then the Orioles scored 11 unanswered. Jeremiah Jackson, Ryan Mountcastle, and Samuel Basallo each homered. Basallo's first of his career. That swing was disgusting. The fact that that ball got out to the backside in that ballpark on that swing, he's going to be so good for such a long time. Trevor Rogers might be the best pitcher alive. 7 innings, 5 hits, 1 earned, no walks, 5 Ks. He now has a 1.21 ERA in his last 12 starts. That guy, it's automatic right now. And it's funny. It's like Michael Elias is just got to be so happy that he is salvaging that trade for them. Then you go to game 3. Giants win big. 13-2. Like these are just all crazy lopsided games. Rafael Devers homered. He also singled to drive in a run in the 3rd inning. So it was all Devers in the early going. And yeah, they just kind of kept the foot on the gas. Justin Verlander grinded on his way to a 5-inning win. You got to win. 10 Ks, 4 walks, 3 hits, no runs, 121 pitches. Just emptying the tank out there. So that was fun to watch. Shigano gave up 7 earned and 3 1/3. And then Devers going 3 for 4. He's really starting to heat up. OPS over 1,000 since the start of August. Elliot Ramos and Luis Matos, Andrew Gilbert each had multi-hit games. Giants win that one 13-2 and take the series.
My big takeaway from this one is it's good to see Willie Adames turn around his season, right? Because, he signs a big contract with San Francisco and it starts poorly, right? Just 3 straight months of an OPS below 700, right? The power was minuscule, just wasn't the guy Giants fans signed up for. Now, at the same time, a guy signs a huge deal. He's not expected to come in and run with it right away. We've seen it plenty of times. Guys adjust to a new city, to a new team, and sometimes they get off to slow starts, and sometimes it can compound and turn into a down season. Most notably, I remember Lindor's first year with the Mets, and Juan Soto's having a down year, apparently.
Yeah.
But he's a little bit different. But in July, he turned it all the way up, hitting 337 with an OPS near 1100. And then this month, he got 9 home runs. He's 5 home runs away from breaking the Barry Bonds curse. No Giants player has hit 30 home runs since Barry Bonds retired. They've been looking for that guy to hit for power. Now, they thought maybe it would be Matt Chapman, and Chapman's been a great player for them, but not the power threat that they thought he could be. But Adames is creeping up there. He might do it in his first season. This guy's still a really good player and still a great guy to build around.
Last 50 games for Adames, he's got a 909 OPS, 16 homers. So if he doesn't do it this year, I feel good about him doing it next year because he's finishing the year on an easy pace to eclipse that 30 home run total. And makes me feel good about the team going into next year as well. I mean, it definitely hurts to not have him playing at the peak of his powers in the first half of the season, but you have him sprinting through the finish line here. Think about what you've got going into next year. Bryce Eldridge is going to get up next year. See what they do maybe to make some more additions. And, Posey's going to be aggressive. It's definitely huge to see Adames picking up and alongside with Rafael Devers really picking up now and settling in since he's joined the Giants. I think obviously rough out of the gate for the first month or two. I think there's an adjustment to just that stadium in general too mentally. But Devers seems more than comfortable now there in San Francisco as well.
So another thought that came to my head, what type of money is Trevor Rogers going to get in free agency now? Because he's not a free agent this upcoming season. He'll be an unrestricted free agent in 2027. So this conversation could be null and void if he comes back next year and isn't able to replicate any sort of this success. But I think it's going to continue to go well for him. That fastball is just unhittable at 93 miles an hour, playing at the top of the zone. It's an invisible, and he's able to locate his off-speed pitches wherever he wants. Now, next year, is he going to pitch to a 1.39 ERA that he's done this year? Obviously not. But let's say he pitches to a low threes in 150 innings, which I think is very possible. I almost think that's probable. He's under 30 years old. Could he make $100 million or
No.
more? I know that sounds crazy, but
he'd have to really, he'd have to do it for the whole season. Yeah, I don't even think if he's a low threes. I think he'd have to be sub 3. I think it would have to be sub
with
3.
the way pitchers are getting paid nowadays,
It's
you're telling me
too much turbulence and a lot of injuries over the last couple. That would be 100 million. It would be pretty crazy.
I've seen crazy pitchers get more. I've seen in this market, it just goes up and up. Whether I think he deserves it or not,
I mean, if he does it
an
for
outside possibility,
if he's like a low threes guy for 150, 160, and he's definitely getting paid. He's definitely getting paid. I'm going to be interested to see what that looks like. But it's such a weird circumstance of turbulence. I have no idea, but maybe somebody comes in and overpays. Maybe the Rockies do it. They love their lefties, man. They love their low slot lefties. So maybe the Rockies come in and give him 120.
If he pitches to a 3.20 ERA over 150 innings next year, his agent is going to go to these teams and say, for the last year and a half, he's been arguably the best pitcher on earth. I mean, what are you going to say then? They're just going to, I don't know. I don't even know what to say because it's such a crazy thought, but I had the thought and I don't think it's that crazy, even though it is. I keep saying it over and over because it's so crazy.
He's going to finish this year with close to 100 innings at a 1 something. So, I mean, he's got a really unique case going into next year, and he's going to be pitching for a lot. I'll tell you that, especially if this Orioles team is good and he's playing well down the stretch and pitching in meaningful games. I could definitely see it becoming a really fascinating conversation.
What if he's better than that?
Exactly.
Who knows?
Brewers Blue Jays. I think this was one of the better just matchups of two teams playing at a really high level right now. But game 1, Brewers win 7-2. Freddie Peralta versus Shane Bieber. It was scoreless until the 6th inning, until Andrew Monasterio homered, and then the floodgates opened. 5 in the 6th, 2 more in the 7th, put the Brewers in the driver's seat. Andrew Vaughn, who everybody was saying, oh, he's cooling off now, it's over. 3 hits. Caleb Durbin, Isaac Collins, Bryce Terang, all multi-hit games. Freddie Peralta, 6 innings, 1 hit, no earned, 1 walk, 8 Ks. Shane Bieber, 5 1/3, 5 hits, 2 earned, no walks, 6 Ks. Game 2. This was a lower scoring one. Quinn Priester versus Kevin Gausman. Scoreless through 5 innings in this one before Vlad Guerrero Jr. sac fly, drew first blood, but then the Brewers answered with 4 runs. Jackson Chourio and Christian Yelich homered. Yelich, Collins, and Chourio all had multi-hit games, and the Brewers won 4-1. Priester, 6 innings, 5 hits, no runs, no walks, 3 Ks. Kevin Gausman was fantastic. 7 innings, 4 hits, 1 run, no walks, 8 Ks. The only run he gave up was a crazy, weird check swing by Sal Frelick that scored a run from third, and that was really it. He was really, really sharp. Game 3, Blue Jays finally got the bats going in this one. It was Brandon Woodruff versus Max Scherzer. No one really pitched well in this one. It was, which I was expecting, just a vet battle. Didn't get it. Neither got out of the 5th inning. Blue Jays offense was just too much in general. Springer, Barger, Lucas, Clement, and Straw all had multi-hit games, and the Blue Jays won 8-4. Wilson Contreras and Bryce Terang did homer, but it was not enough for them. Still, the Brewers take 2 out of 3 in this series and just continue to look like one of baseball's, if not baseball's, best team.
Hopefully Max Scherzer's okay. Left that last game with back tightness. Don't have a report other than that, but just hoping that he's okay. So for all the people doubting the Brewers come playoff time, what do you say to the fact that the Brewers are 15-2 against the division winners right now?
That is crazy.
Let's let that stat just permeate for a second. Let it sit with you. Let it breathe. 15-2 against the best of the best. Doesn't matter in the National League. Doesn't matter in the American League. This team is the best in baseball against teams over 500. Brandon Woodruff had a bad day on the mound, and it felt like a shocker. Like, when's the last time you see a Brewer's arm get crushed?
Yeah.
Like, it might be Mizorowski, a home run gets clipped, and he gave up 2 hits and 4 runs in that game. That's like a bad Brewers start nowadays. The bullpen is locked down. It's a shock whenever a Brewers starter doesn't dominate. And then they just keep hitting. Yelich is the man. Contreras has heated up. Bryce Terang is
We talked about him. He's a power hitter now.
he's an impossible out. They play good defense. They run the bases super well. I'm trying to find reasons why this Brewers team can't compete for a World Series, and I can't find them.
There is
Other than just relying on the past. Just being like, well, they've blown it before.
Yeah. It's a different team. It really is. And we'll see. I mean, Miguel getting hurt, that stinks for sure. But this is a different Brewers team than the other years. I'm with you on that front.
Again, just slot Abner Uribe in the closer role. Dude's a demon.
Yeah, it's different, but it's still an elite bullpen. You can roll with other guys for sure. It's impossible to poke a hole in this team, I think.
I trust Jared Koenig with my life.
All those guys, honestly.
I love Jared Koenig so much. It's just 95-mile-an-hour fastball down the middle, daring you, and nobody touches it.
You won't hit it.
I love Koenig.
Diamondbacks, Dodgers.
Yep.
The Diamondbacks got damn close to sweeping this thing. Game 1, Zach Gallen versus Blake Snell. It's a good pitcher's duel here. Blaze Alexander homered, and Gabriel Moreno added an RBI single, which was all the D-backs needed. Because Zach Gallen, 6 innings, 2 hits, no runs, 3 walks, 8 Ks. Now has a 2.57 ERA over his last 6 starts. The way he's finishing the year, probably going to get a QO. Going to be interesting to see if he takes it and how that all goes. Blake Snell, 5 1/3, 4 hits, 3 earned, 3 walks, 8 Ks, was good overall, but hard to win games when your team doesn't score. D-backs win that one 3-zip. Game 2 was all D-backs again in a start that was Erod versus Tyler Glasnow. It was scoreless until the 7th inning when Corbin Carroll homered, his 28th of the year. Eldemaro Vargas also homered and drove in 3. Blaze Alexander had a 2-hit game. Erod, 6 innings, 4 hits, no runs, 4 walks, 4 Ks. Tyler Glasnow, 7 innings, 4 hits, 3 earned, no walks, 6 Ks, but D-backs win 6-1. Then the best game was the final. I was going to say rubber match, but it wasn't. It was for the sweep. It was back and forth, but not really till late. It was Yoshinobu Yamamoto against Brandon Pfaadt. And, of course, that skews towards favor of the Dodgers. And it really was for most of the game because Yamamoto went 7 innings of 4-hit, 1-run ball, no walks, 10 Ks. Brandon Pfaadt didn't get out of the 5th, gave up 8 hits and 4 earned. It was 4-1 Dodgers until the 8th inning when Corbin Carroll hit a 3-run homer backside off of Tanner Scott. Just ridiculous swing. Ball just kept carrying out of there. That tied it at 4-4, but then Will Smith, who just continues to be one of the best hitters in the sport, walked it off in the bottom of the 9th, solo shot, and the Dodgers salvaged the series. They win 5-4. I mean, Smith is, that's a pinch hit for Dalton Rushing. He's got to be one of the most reliable hitters in the game right now. Between the hit, the power, the approach, it's amazing what he's doing. And Cal Raleigh's getting all the love for good reason. But if Cal wasn't doing what he's doing, we'd be talking about Will Smith having, one of the best catcher seasons also we've seen in a little bit.
Pretty cool that Will Smith has a walk-off hit against every team in his division this year. It's like
That's
another cool stat that I was listening to Nomar on the Dodgers post game, and I was like, that's kind of cool. It's his 6th career walk-off home run. There's something about him. Lights get bright. His blood turns cold. His pulse gets slow. He just rocks home runs. That post-game interview, they ask him, like, how do you do it? And he said, just control your breathing, look for a pitch, and crush it. I was like, that's exactly how it should be.
Yeah.
You shouldn't know what to do in those situations. It should be an internal thing where your heartbeat just slows and you just find your pitch and crush it. Simplify it down. We talked about that in the breakout second half hitters, right? A lot of them, it's just simplifying it, finding your pitch, see ball, hit ball. And I feel like that's what Will Smith turns into, a rocket ship when the game is on the line.
Which is it's the time when it speeds up for most people, too. That's what makes it so amazing. And he's always there, even keel.
Corbin Carroll on the other side. 5'10", 170, soaking wet. Slugging 557.
Yeah.
He's just turned into just such an incredible player. Now, I want to call him a five-tool guy, but unfortunately, I can't call that arm a tool. I can't.
No,
It's not the worst arm in the world.
but
Kind of reminds me of
it's not an
Johnny Damon.
asset.
No, it's not an asset, but this guy hit, power, speed from that body, just the power that he can generate is it's like I think about it, and I know this sounds corny, but it's like an inspiration for high school bats who just
Yeah.
aren't that big. But you can get into that type of power if you optimize that swing, and he's made those swing changes.
Well, and become the freakiest athlete
True.
possible.
Yeah, maybe it's hard to say you could grow up to become Corbin Carroll when he's just
I'm
a
sorry,
complete
kids, you
freak of nature.
can't. But
Maybe they
you
should
can
look up to
still be good. You
They should
can
look
still
up to
be
Ellie
good.
De La Cruz instead, right? Try to be that. Yeah, no. At this point, it's a little bit tough, but he's just incredible. The Diamondbacks are playing better baseball lately. We still have that over 85.5 wins in pocket. They have to go 18-6 to get there. Do we have a chance?
If they swept that there, I'd say, "Ooh, okay, we got a shot." It's this bullpen, man, and I get it because they don't need to worry about it now. I mean, like season's over for them in terms of competing, but this bullpen is just so bad. It's so bad. I don't think any team has blown more leads than the Diamondbacks this year.
Yeah,
So
that makes sense.
yeah, they'd
Yeah.
be so good if the bullpen was just pretty good. But obviously, a lot of injuries, a lot of unfortunate circumstances. But hey, it's not dead yet. Although they're about to play a red hot Rangers team now for 3.
The D-backs have a better run differential than the Astros. Now,
That's
is that an
crazy.
anti-Astro stat or a pro D-back stat? I don't know.
It's probably pro D-backs. They've lost more one-run games than any team in Major League Baseball. I'm pretty sure.
Next season. Back on
Right
back on the
back on it.
wagon. Back on the wagon. But these bullpen arms need to come back healthy and they need to address the starting rotation, but they just rake. They're so much fun to watch.
100%.
All right. You done with your series?
That's it for me.
All right, it's my turn, but before that, our first break. Let's go to the South Side. The Yankees took on the White Sox in a 4-game set this past weekend. We'll start with game 1. Yankees win 10-4. Yankees got out to a 4-0 lead early, highlighted by home runs from Jazz Chisholm and Cody Bellinger. Now, Miguel Vargas answered in the bottom of the second with a grand slam, but that was it for the White Sox. Aaron Judge broke the tie in the 5th with an RBI single, and then the Yankees just kept piling on, highlighted by Trent Grisham's 27th home run of the year. But he wasn't done yet. We'll continue. Game 2, Yankees win 10-2. Similar story to game 1. Yankees got out to a 1-0 lead. And then Trent Grisham homered again. This time a grand slam for his 28th of the season. Yankees continue to put belt to ass, highlighted by an Anthony Volpe home run. Rodon only allowed 1 run through 6 innings against his former team, while former Yankees prospect Yoendrys Gomez allowed 4 earned runs in 4 innings. Game 3, Yankees win 5-3 in 11 innings. This game was a lot closer, but the Yankees again started with a lead on Aaron Judge's 42nd home run of the season. Mike Tauchman tied it up with an RBI in the 5th, but Austin Wells got the lead back with his 19th home run of the year. Chase Mydroth tied it back up on an RBI single, and we head to extras. But in extras, it was all Yankees. Cody, Jazz, and Volpe all drove in runs in the 11th, and this thing was over. Cam freaking Schlittler continues to dominate. 6 innings, 1 run, 8 Ks. Only 1 earned run allowed over his last 3 starts, totaling 18 2/3 with 24 punchouts. His ERA is down to 2.61, but shout out to Shane Smith. Solid. 6 innings, 2 earned, 7 Ks. His ERA is down to 3.81. Move to game 4. White Sox win 3-2, snapping the Yankees' 7-game win streak. Aaron Judge hit his 43rd home run of the year, tying Yogi Berra for the 5th most home runs in Yankees
Wow.
history. And he's just 3 more away from tying Joe DiMaggio. A reminder, Yogi Berra got to 358 home runs in 19 seasons. Aaron Judge got there in less than 10. That was the lone Yankees highlight as the White Sox would tie it up with a Colson Montgomery home run. He has juice. He's a fun guy to watch. And then Lenyn Sosa hit the go-ahead shot in the 8th. Martin Perez, that was good. 6 innings, 2 earned, 7 Ks. You know, that start actually raised his ERA from 2.02 to 2.16. That's how good
I
Martin
love him and
Perez has
Quintana,
been.
man. I absolutely love them. I
Yeah.
hope that guys like that never go anywhere.
I don't think they're going to. He
That
keeps putting up numbers like that. He's going to get signed every year.
It's amazing. Yeah, but they get neglected every time. Like it's crazy. And then it's, oh my gosh, what a great signing. And then we forget. And then it's, oh my gosh, what a great signing every single year. But yeah, him being healthy and doing that again. And this was a red hot Yankees offense in the series. He slowed them down. Like he was the one guy that could slow them down.
So here's something that I want to say that only myself and the rest of the evil empire are going to enjoy. The rest of baseball isn't going to like this, but the MVP race is over.
That series definitely, I think, shifted the conversation because Judge just looks healthy again. He just looks like he feels okay. And if he feels okay, it's gonna be hard for Cal. Like
That's
Cal
the
has
thing.
the spurts. Judge, like I'll even look at like Judge 0 for 2, 3 walks on Friday. Like that's gonna be his bad games now, and he's just gonna start homering a lot again.
His 0 for 2 games, that's a 600 OBP.
Yeah, and then he's gonna homer a lot again. So I do agree. I was thinking about that when I was watching the series. Like basically he would have had to crater, which I thought he was kind of doing. I thought that injury might just be affecting him. But if he's not cratering here and he finishes strong, and Aaron Judge knows the stakes, he wants to win another MVP. And he also wants to help this team obviously get to where they need to go. He's gonna go crazy here down the stretch. I also do think it may end up becoming a wrap quite soon here.
Also, I don't mean to pile on Cal Raleigh because I love Cal Raleigh, but he's not playing that well right now. And I actually got a DM the other day from a guy named Evan Kling. Shout out Dos Pueblos High School. He DM'd me a better catcher season than Cal Raleigh because what's the most common thing out of Jack's mouth this entire season? Cal Raleigh's putting up the greatest catcher season of all time. Mike Piazza would like a word. In 1997 with the Dodgers, he hit 362 with 40 jacks, a 183 WRC plus, and put up a 9.1 F4. That was before Mike Piazza started to fall off a cliff defensively. He was an above-average defender that year. 9-win season for Mike Piazza. 40 jacks hitting 362. Are we sure Cal Raleigh's putting up the best catcher season of all time?
The war stat with a catcher in 97's tough, but
Whatever. Don't care about the war. He hit 362 with 40 jacks.
yeah, 362 is crazy. But no one's hit as many homers as Cal's hit this year, as a
True.
catcher. So that I guess that's the like never before seen side of it.
But we also didn't call Salvador Perez's 2021, where he had 48 jacks, the greatest catcher season of all time either. That being said, he was not nearly the defender that Cal Raleigh has been this year.
Yeah, like I would love to know what the defensive numbers were on Piazza that year.
You don't think in 97 they were precise?
I'm just curious like how he looked.
They're not even precise now.
I don't even know what he looked like. I would love to know like what the defense looked like. He had 16 errors that season.
You don't remember watching that? We were 0.
He had 16 errors.
Errors aren't a good stat, as you've said before.
I agree. That's all we got.
That's all we got. He made 16 errors out of the
That's the
competition.
most he's ever made in his career, I
But
think.
isn't that a crazy season?
Oh yeah, I mean that's just stupid. It's absolutely stupid. Some of his offensive years were just outrageous.
But here's the thing. Are either the Yankees or the Mariners going to win the division to be the tiebreaker for this MVP award anyway?
Now, also in that series that we're talking about here, where Judge was fantastic. In the meantime, Cal is 0 for his last 12.
Not good.
And he's, if I go back further, he's 5 for his last 40.
Yeah, on BetMGM, Aaron Judge is up to minus 225 to win MVP.
Wow. It's going to get, I think, a lot like shorter odds quick.
We'll see. We will see. All right, let's move over to Cardinals versus Reds. Game 1, Cardinals win 7-5 in 10 innings. Ivan Herrera homered out of the gate, but Noelvi Marte answered quickly with a home run of his own, and then Austin Hayes broke the tie that same inning. After 1, it's 2-1. Pedro Baez retook the lead for St. Louis with a home run in the second, and then Mason Wynn drove in the 4th run in the 3rd. Reds tied it back up, highlighted by a Spencer Steer home run, but then Cardinals would retake the lead again before Cabrian Hayes tied it back up with a home run. We go to extras where Contreras brought home the eventual winning run on a throwing error. Steer probably should have scooped it from Ellie De La Cruz, and then Mason Wynn added the final blow. Moved to game 2. Cardinals went 4-2. Gavin Lux drove in the game's first run on an RBI double, but the top of the first should have seen Cardinals runs. They made the dumbest base running decision that I've seen in a long time. They thought it was an infield fly. Jordan Walker pops it up, bases loaded. It lands right in the middle. Nobody does anything. But then the Cardinals runners are confused. They just start jogging around, and then the Reds turn a double play out of it. That was the dumbest move I've seen in a while. But luckily, they still won the game because Nathan Church gave St. Louis the lead in the fourth on a two-run single, and they would never give it back. Wilson Contreras added an insurance run in the seventh with his 20th home run of the year, and then Pedro Pages did the same in the eighth. Matt McClain homered, but it was too little too late. Shout out Michael McGreevy. Awesome. 6 innings, 5 hits, 1 earned. ERA is down to 4.17. Moved to game 3. Reds win 7-4 to avoid this sweep. Cardinals got out to an early 2-0 lead before the Reds would battle back in the second, highlighted by a TJ Friedl 2-run single to give the Reds a 3-2 lead. Cardinals would tie it back up, but Austin Hayes gave them some breathing room with his 12th home run of the year. Shout out Jimmy Crooks, hit his first ever home run for St. Louis, but it wasn't enough as the Reds piled on, highlighted by Matt McClain's 13th home run of the year. The Reds, man, they're just such an inconsistent ball club.
Yep.
It's like, they put together a win streak where Green and Abbott and all these guys look so good, and then the bullpen comes in and locks it down, and Noelvi Marte is spraying the ball, TJ Friedl, Ellie De La Cruz. It's like, man, this team could compete in the playoffs. And then the next series, it's like, I mean, am I watching a last place team? I can't figure this team out. They're just so up and down.
Yep.
They're a weird watch.
I can never figure it out. And they've been getting a really good Brady Singer. We talked about him on the pitchers who are having a good second half episode, and Singer turned in another good one. And now the last 3 outings, he's gone 6 innings. This was his worst, actually, of his last 4 outings, where it was 6 innings, no runs, 6 innings, 1 run, 6 inning, 1 run, and then this last time out, 6 innings, 3 runs, but no walks and 8 Ks. So he continues to be great. The Reds are, running out of time here to kind of close this gap, and they had an opportunity with the Mets dropping 3 out of 4 to climb a little bit closer. They called up Sal Stewart. His rosters are expanding here. I think he's going to go nuts. By the way, that's just my prediction. I think he's just going to get up playing Great American Ballpark. The way that he hits the ball, it's like hard line drives everywhere. A lot of those line drives are going to get out now. I think Sal's going to be a jolt for them. But yeah, it's really hard to figure out who they are. And I don't even know if they fully know who they are, but hopefully they can get hot down the stretch here and make it interesting.
I have a question for you, and I don't know if you know the answer because I think none of us know the answer yet, but we were discussing it in our Discord, so I wanted to throw it over to you. Who loses playing time for Sal Stewart? And why did they wait this long to call him up? I understand rosters expand. I feel like he could have helped. It's not like
Yeah,
this Reds offense has been that great.
I thought he could have helped too. It would probably be Spencer Steer a little bit.
Yeah.
It's funny though because he's mostly playing third. Obviously, not going to play him at third. You just got Ryan Hayes. I think second base, and then maybe you move Lux back into playing a little bit more outfield.
He's been playing a lot of outfield, though. It's like you got McClain and Ellie up the middle.
Maybe it's really weird, and maybe McClain gets some days off now because he's been brutal. Like I'm looking at McClain as a guy. I know he homered, but maybe that's the guy. I think everybody, everybody's going to see their playing time drop a little bit. That's not one of their clear cut dogs, and he's going to get his way, sneak his way into the lineup a few more times per week. But might also just be a weapon off the bench for them down the stretch here.
Also, last but certainly not least, Cardinals found a guy in McGreevy. You've been high on him for a while. You weren't coming out and saying, oh, this is the next Cardinals ace, but you were just like, damn it, I can rely on him to be a solid 4 starter. Like such a high floor, and I see it. Pounds the strike zone, right? And he's very even keeled on the mound, which I appreciate. Like it doesn't seem like the moment is too big. When he runs into trouble, he's still pounding the strike zone, trusting his stuff. And this was another great start for him. And I said things to watch in a couple episodes ago. I was like, any of these young Cardinals arms, like Liberatore, Palante, McGreevy, like we want to see who are the building blocks for next year's rotation. I'm sorry, I can't trust Palante. And Liberatore, we're giving him the shot, but McGreevy's the best of all of them right now.
Well, what I like about McGreevy is like even when he's not great, he's gonna just eat innings. Like he's gonna be at worst, he's gonna be an innings eater and a really solid one at that. And he holds runners on better than anybody in the game. Like no joke, he's the quickest to home in anybody in the game. But he has 6 straight starts of 6 innings. Like he's
Yep.
just gonna get you innings, and that's so needed in today's game.
And I don't, this comparison isn't perfect because they don't pitch like each other, but I'm curious if he could have some sort of Chris Bassett type career. That's kind of the vibe he gives me. Like the stuff isn't outrageous, but he fills up the zone. Again, more of an even keeled guy on the mound, even though Chris Bassett can get fired up at points, as can McGreevy. That's just a non statistical, they don't pitch similarly, but a career arc that I could see coming McGreevy's way.
And I think with a lot of the volatility that they have arms wise coming up, and just the way that I think you generally just don't know how many innings you're going to get from a lot of guys. It just seems like McGreevy, especially with the minor league workload as well, like you can pencil him in for 200 innings next year. And
I love that.
how many 25-year-olds can you say that about? None. I
Zero?
think none. And I really do think you can pencil him in for nearly 200 innings or 200 innings next year.
Because I was going to say, how old is Skeens? But I'm like, the Pirates are probably just going to limit him to pretend to trade him for whatever
Yeah,
they're going to do.
I feel like they'll never let him go 200. I hope, but I
We'll
feel
see.
like they're weird with it.
Let's go to Padres Twins. Shout out Twins Nation. This is the Twins team that I was so high on from the beginning of the season, even though it looks absolutely nothing like the Twins team I liked. Game one, Twins win 7-4. Jose Iglesias broke the 1-1 tie in the fourth on an RBI single, but the Twins would get it right back. Cody Clemens grounded a ball to second that Cronenworth completely whiffed on, scoring two. And then Larnach broke it open with a 2-run single of his own. Now, Royce Lewis homered for just the 9th time this year, but he did homer, and the game was over. Moved to game two. Padres get revenge, winning 12-3. Twins actually had a lead in this one until the fifth, where Elias Diaz tied it up with a solo shot. Byron Buxton continued his tirade of the league, homering in the bottom half of that inning, his 28th of the year, but then the floodgates just opened. Padres tied it up in the sixth and then put up 7 runs in the seventh, highlighted by yet another Elias Diaz home run. Shout out the 2024 All-Star Game MVP, or maybe that was 2023. I'm already forgetting. Ramon Laureano added a home run of his own, completely boat racing the Twins. Now, Taj Bradley was excellent, tossing 5 innings, only allowing 1 hit and 1 run while striking out 6, but the bullpen got destroyed. Notably, McAble, remember in the Yohan Duran trade, allowed 5 earned runs in just 1 inning of work. Moved to game three, Twins win 7-2. Buxton opened the scoring with his 29th home run of the year, and then the Twins just kept piling on. The first Padres runs didn't even come until the ninth, as Joe Ryan dominated for 7 shutout innings while striking out 8, lowering his ERA to 3.08. Shocking series to me. It's not like the Padres are playing amazing baseball going into that, but they needed these wins here. You lose 2 out of 3 to the Twins. Shout out
Yeah.
the Twins, but damn.
Yeah, the Twins are just playing that. They're that, rebuilding team that's just playing young, nothing to lose, just loose. And those teams are sometimes scary, and they've been teeing off. Zebby Matthews, I thought was like his best start of the year. Bradley, just approaching things a little bit differently, I think, and he looked really sharp. And then, yeah, it just seems like the bats are coming alive. Some of the young guys are they try to prove themselves a little bit, and a guy like Royce Lewis starting to swing it a little bit more of late. So also Buxton, career best 29th home run of the season. It's kind of crazy. It's like, oh, he's never hit 30. Well, yeah, because he's never played enough games to hit 30. So it would be really cool to see him get over that 30 home run plateau. Just in what's been, I think, maybe there's been better output seasons statistically. I think this has been the best season of Byron Buxton's career because he's been available and he's been good. And been playing a lot of defense. So it's been just really fun to watch Buxton do his thing.
Yeah, he's going to set his career high in WAR this year. His career high before this was back in 2017 as a 23-year-old, where he put up a 92 WRC plus and a 4.4 F4 because he's just such a freak of nature. And then he also put up 4.1 F4 in 2021, where he played 61 games.
Yeah.
I mean, this is
It's
video
so
game numbers.
crazy.
You put up a 3.5 win season in 92 games in 2022 when he hit 28 jacks, like hit 28 home runs in 92 games. But then this year, he's just put it all together. He's going to get to 30 home runs. He's going to be at 25 stolen bases. And he's probably going to be a 5-win player. It's so good to see a player like this just put together healthy seasons. Like him and DeGrom working side by side to just smush down all the injury haters,
Yeah.
which there were plenty for good reason, right? They haven't put together solid seasons in a very long time, but they're doing it this year, and it's great to watch. I'm just glad it's better for baseball.
Oh, it's so fun, and hopefully the Twins, are playing a little bit of better ball, and he can help kind of lead them. But it's just been nice to see him be able to play defense and be available all the time too.
It is so funny though, in the National League West and in the American League West, it's like the two first place teams, the Astros and the Dodgers, are not playing good baseball, and they're almost trying to hand the division on a silver platter to the second place teams. But the Mariners can't win on the road, and the Padres are losing series to the Twins. Nobody wants to win these divisions. We
No,
will see. We will
we're
see.
at that part of the season.
Yep, we're at that part. The dog days of summer where just everything is random. Rays versus Nationals is our next series. Game one, Rays win 4-1. Brandon Lau opened the scoring with a 2-run jack, his 27th of the season. He's been awesome this year. And Everson Pereira, former Yankee legend, sort of, added one of his own in the fifth, and that was all Tampa needed. Very quick game. In the game two, Rays went 4-1, same thing. This time it was Josh Lowe opening the scoring, a 3-run shot, and again, that was all they needed. But Josh Lowe wasn't done, homering again in the fourth. Pepio was dominant through 5 innings, only allowing one hit and striking out six, lowering his ERA to 3.70. And then game three, Rays win 7-4, got out to a big lead early against Brad Lord, putting up 6 runs in the second, courtesy of a Brandon Lau grand slam, his 28th of the season. From there, Nationals put up a few runs, but nothing that made the Rays nervous as they cruised to a win. Ian Seymour allowed four runs, but only one of them was earned as he struck out 8, lowering his ERA to 2.97. That guy's fun to watch.
Mm-hmm.
Pounds the strike zone, works so quickly, gets the ball back, and he's immediately back on. That was a fun watch.
He's fun too. He'll go like both extreme ends of the rubber based on handedness, plays his angles really well. He's funky, and I'm glad he's getting opportunity now. As I think the Rays have kind of slipped into that side of the season now. I'm glad to see him getting starts and opportunities to get stretched out because they're kind of using him in relief role, and that's just not really how I see him as a guy that's sitting in the low 90s. But it was really, really good last time out. It was 5 innings, 1 hit, no runs, 1 walk, 8 Ks, and then that's solid yet again. And I think he's a really good equalizer in that rotation that has a lot of fun, volatile but high upside. When they're on, they're disgusting type of arms, and then you can balance that out with a consistent, solid Ian Seymour.
Another Rays takeaway. I'm curious if you wouldn't mind doing this when you have some free time. Did Josh Lowe change his swing? Looks really simple. It's a very simple load, and he's straight to the baseball, and he's hitting rockets. Now, it hasn't exactly resulted in like this crazy month, right? I don't think the stats have updated quite yet, but it's, an OPS over 700. It's nothing crazy, right? It's nothing crazy. But what I am saying is that this guy has all the potential in the
Oh my
world.
gosh.
So if he found a simpler swing to get those huge arms in the zone a little bit more, spraying balls to all fields. This guy's all the talent in the world to be one of the better outfielders in the American League. He's just been inconsistent. There have been injuries. But I was watching this series and I was like, that looks better. But it might not have been that much of a change. And that's my question for you
It's
is
definitely simpler. Like he's almost like no striding now. I'm looking at it right now. His
nothing.
hands are lower. Like, I mean, he's so interesting too because I loved him as a prospect. And there's so much there. Yeah, he's like fully no striding. That's definitely
Yeah.
different. That's crazy. But yeah, if I hope that works because it's really just been the contact and availability side of things. And I mean, the power speed combination that he
Yeah.
brings to the table is really dynamic. So I'm hoping he can find it. He's still just 27.
Yeah, again, he's not that old too. So if it's like next year this swing works and he's like a 780 OPS with power and speed playing good defense, we're like, wait a minute, that's a really good outfielder.
Yep. Yeah.
So someone to watch for the rest of the season for sure. All right, let's move over to the Mariners versus the Guardians. Mariners. The Astros are handing you the division and you just won't take it because you can't win on the road. Guardians win 5-4 in game one. Seattle came out hot, scoring all 4 runs in the first inning, highlighted by Jorge Polanco's 21st home run of the year, but it was all Guardians from there, scoring in every inning, starting in the sixth inning with Kyle Manzardo home run, his 22nd of the season. Nolan Jones would add one of his own, and then Stephen Kwan sac flied the winning run home in the bottom of the ninth to win it. Mariners wasted a 7-inning, 2-run performance from George Kirby. We moved to game two. Guardians win another close one, 4-3. Bo Naylor opened the scoring with an RBI single in the fourth. And then in the sixth, Kyle Manzardo homered again to give them a 3-0 lead. Jorge Polanco also homered again for Seattle, but a Stephen Kwan RBI single ended up being the difference in the seventh. Julio Rodriguez, 2-run shot late, his 26th, but it wasn't enough. And Gavin Williams, man, this guy is just all fuel. Awesome again. 7 innings, 1 earned, only 4 hits allowed, 8 punchies. His ERA is down to 3.26. Game 3, Mariners win 4-2, avoiding the sweep. Daniel Schneemann opened the scoring with a 2-run shot, but that was all she wrote for Cleveland. Randy's 26th home run of the year tied it, and then Julio Rodriguez infield single scored 2. Couldn't tell when I was watching whether he was safe or out. I don't think anybody could. So the call stood, and Seattle needed it. Bryce Miller was great. 6 innings, 2 hits, 2 earned. ERA is still a rough 5.71. And we also got news this weekend. Luis Ortiz and Emmanuel Clase, due to the gambling investigations, will not be available for the rest of the season for Cleveland.
Tanner Bybee, like he's had some bad luck this year, man. So
Oh,
those 2 earned
bad
runs, I
luck.
think, get charged to him.
Yeah, and it was Festa was in pitching. It was tough.
And it was just like he beat out a ground ball and 2 runs scored.
That's two
So
earned runs to that ERA.
that sucked. And he's just had I feel like every time I tune in, he gets screwed. But
True.
it's definitely, I think you hit the nail on the head going into it. Like they needed to take 2 out of 3 in this one, and they didn't. I mean, it's okay. They're still in a good spot, but these are the series where you wanna win them, especially when it's all 1-run games for the most part, 5-4, 4-3, 4-2. But those are the series there where when Cal doesn't have a hit, that's kind of the difference, right? So uh, it just it's one that you want to have there. But I will say, really encouraging to see Bryce Miller. He'll give you a really economical 6 innings there, and start to settle in because they need him. And if he's not getting right in the next few starts here, it's a very weird spot where I don't think you can really put him into too much. I don't know how much confidence you can have in him in the postseason with the way he'd be going into it. So hopefully he can keep building on this and sets them up, to be in a better spot there. But yeah, I'm very interested to see how the AL West continues to go because both these teams are fighting through it right now.
The Mariners have all the ingredients to get out of the American League and win the World Series. They have all the ingredients. They have the elite pitching at the top: Gilbert, Kirby, Wu, Castillo, Miller. 5 deep. They have the offense. You bring in Naylor. You bring in Geno Suarez. You got Kyle Raleigh. Jorge Polanco hits a home run, it feels like, every day. Julio Rodriguez hits a home run every day. Cole Young has stepped up and really solidified that second base role. They have great bullpen. They have the ingredients. But you get them against a team under 500 on the road, they turn into a pumpkin. I mean, explain this to me. Explain how a team could be 42-36, one of the better records against teams over 500, and they're 73-64. Which means, basically, they're like a few games over 500, maybe at 500 against teams below 500. They can't win on the road either. The games that you gotta have.
Yeah.
They don't. And they're just leaving the short. It's like they're just leaving food on the table.
Yeah.
It almost feels like the season for them is symbolized when you go to a wing spot and those baskets where people are eating their wings, and it's like you left half the wing on the bone. Half the chicken is still there. That's what they're doing. But the sauce is great. It's a great buffalo sauce. Eat the whole wing.
Yeah.
Eat it. They're not.
I think they got a shot here against
They do.
Tampa.
That's the crazy part about it. It's like I'm memorializing them. No way. They're still in it. But imagine what they could be if they just beat these crap teams.
I'm very excited for it's funny, they're playing good teams. So we'll see. They got Tampa and Atlanta, but I look at the way that it could finish. Yeah, they got 3 games to finish the season against the Dodgers, but also 3 against the Astros just before that, with the Rockies sandwiched in between. I'm sure they'll play well against the Astros, they'll play well against the Dodgers, and get swept by Colorado or something. But
Yeah.
yeah, it'll be a fun final week or 2 weeks there of the season where you got Houston for 3 and the Dodgers to finish up for 3.
Also, I want to apologize to Guardians fans. You're not one of the crap teams that I was thinking of. You guys are above 500. You've been playing fine baseball for a while now.
Well,
This
especially
was
with all the
more,
adversity. Yeah, I mean they're hanging in there. They're
they're hanging in there. This was more rant about the last month post All-Star break with the Mariners, where it's right there. So, no disrespect. Hopefully, you heard from me about the Cleveland Guardians. You know I'm a guard ball guy. We got 5 series left, but before that, our last break. Next up, Angels versus Astros. Game 1, Astros win 2-0. This was the Christian Javier show. Excuse me. Tossing 6 no-hit innings with 6 strikeouts. The only reason he was removed from the game at 85 pitches is still rehabbing from injury. First run came in the 7th of this game as Correa drove home Altuve on a single. Then Jordan added a sac fly in the 8th. Tyler Anderson threw 5 shutout innings, but the next day he was put on the IL with an oblique strain. Hopefully he is okay. Game 2, Angels went 4-1. Zach Neto opened the scoring with his 24th home run of the year, one of the most underrated players on the planet. But Jesus Sanchez tied it up for the Astros in the 3rd with an RBI single. The tie stood until the 9th, where Oswald Peraza drove home 2 on an RBI single. And then Mike Trout walked with the bases loaded to bring in the 4th. Both Arrighetti and Hendricks shoved, tossing 6 innings, allowing 1 run apiece, but the Angels get the better of the Astros. And then in game 3 in the rubber match, Jose Soriano showed up. Angels win 3-0. 7 shutout innings with just 1 hit allowed, 8 Ks, lowering his ERA to 3.68. What a season. Oswald Peraza homered, Mike Trout roped an RBI double, and Luis Rengifo drove in a run on a single. Scary moment in this game for Taylor
yeah.
Ward. Tried to make a crazy play against the wall and smashed his face. Bleeding a lot, had to exit on a stretcher. Again, happened like 2 hours ago, so we don't have any updates, but just hopefully he's okay. He walked off under his own power. It felt like he was okay, but still really scary sight. And the Astros wasted a great Hunter Brown start. 6 innings, 3 hits, 1 earned, 5 Ks. Again, the Astros are just, even with Jordan back, the offense is just not there. They're getting good pitching performances. Hunter Brown, 6 innings, 1 run. Arrighetti, 6 innings, 1 run. Christian Javier freaking threw a 6-inning no-hitter. And you lose 2 out of 3 at home against the Angels?
And Jordan had 2 knocks in the final game, and you still don't score. He had 1 run. It's weird. It's really weird.
I mean, the bottom of the lineup doesn't do anything.
It's been. I mean, Christian Walker's just really hurting them. And I feel bad circling him. It's just, but you're looking at the first base position where you're expected to mash, and
You brought him in to hit.
Walker was brought in to mash and paid to mash, and he's been swinging. Every time I think he's going to heat up, he has the 2-homer game against the Rockies and things like that. He just cools back off again. And so I just don't know what I'm getting here with Walker. So that's a guy that would lengthen the lineup a lot, and then Jesus Sanchez was really bad out of the gate and now starting to settle in with them. But Yiner too. It's just, and then Cam Smith, like, I'm not going to say anything about him because he's a rookie that barely played in the minor leagues. Of course he's going to have a turbulent year. He's been good overall for them, but that should be a guy that's just filling in a role. And now I feel like they really need Cam Smith to be hot Cam Smith for this lineup to do everything it needs to do. But when it's clicking, you can buy into a World Series run because you see Correa and Jordan and Christian Walker even then. And then when it's not clicking, it's like, man, how are they going to score runs? Yes. So you just don't know what range or what Astros you're going to get.
How about Jose Soriano, man? One of the highest ground ball rates in baseball, throws fuzz. I mean, this guy's just got a really talented arm.
Oh, yeah.
And the Angels, like, Kikuchi is your guy and Soriano's your number 2. I mean, that's a really solid front 2.
It's a great one.
Can they build around those 2 guys?
Yeah. I mean, Detmers in relief continues to look solid. Maybe you try him back in the rotation again. I think he's clearly figured something out. The pitching is a little bit better. I think this year, I think you got to feel good about that. Kikuchi sounding looks good overall. And Soriano definitely looks like a piece. And you mentioned Neto and you could Joe Adell having the year overall that he has had. There's definitely components of this team that are encouraging. And they did some things this year that I think were a little bit better than maybe people were expecting. But then you look at the record and it's still not good. And they're still in the same spot, it feels like. But overall, I do think there's been more positives this year for them than last year. And I think a big part of that has been Jose Soriano looking like a building. He's still just 26 years old, by the way.
100%. They already have more wins now than they did all of last year.
Yep.
Good season for the Angels. Hopefully, we're trending up. Tigers versus Royals. Battle of the Central. Game 1. Tigers win 5-3. Yaz and Michael Garcia homer to open the scoring, but that was it for KC. Carpenter drove in 2 in the second, and Riley Green gave Detroit the lead in the fourth on a 2-run double, and they never looked back. Dylan Dingler homered in the eighth for some breathing room, and that was it. Neither Lugo nor Chris Paddock had a fun day at the ballpark, both failing to complete 4 innings. Move to game 2. Royals win 3-1. Glaber opened the scoring for Detroit, but that was it for the Tigers. Michael Garcia homered again, his 15th, tie the game up, and then Bobby Witt Jr. hit his 20th home run in the 8th inning, a 2-run shot to give the Royals a lead. Sarah Langs becomes the first player in MLB history to put up 20 home runs and 30 stolen bases in each of his first 4 seasons. Now, Jack Flaherty, Stephen Kolek both pitched well, only giving up 1 run, but the Royals get the win. Move to game 3. Tigers win 5-0. I got to be honest. Skubal didn't even look good. Still threw 7 shutout innings, only allowing 4 hits. All of his pitches were down in velocity. Didn't matter. He's just, I mean, I'm running out of ways to describe him. His ERA is down at 2.18. Jake Rogers opened the scoring with a 2-run triple, and then Cole Keith drove home a run off a double, and then Gleyber Torres did the same with a single. Pass ball scored, Tigers' 5th run, and that was it. Tigers win 2 of 3. You did feel like, or at least I did going into the series, that it's like, if the Royals can figure out a way to sweep here, let's start having some conversations. But I feel like the Tigers officially put the division to bed.
Yeah.
With a 9.5 game lead now.
Yeah.
Now, again, it had to be a sweep, right? I'm not saying, oh, if they swept them, now the Royals can win the division. I'm just saying, on this episode, we're talking about it. Now, not much to talk about.
Yeah. No, they locked it up, and they've been playing really well overall. It's been fun to watch. Colt Keith is putting together some really good ABs of late. It's just a solid ball club. But yeah, when you got Skubal, not even on the top of his game, and he's giving you 7 shutty. It's just crazy. The Royals, they called up Carter Jensen. And I'm really excited about what he can offer. Is just, I think, one of the biggest raw power guys in the upper minors, one of the more underrated raw power guys in the upper minors, top 40 prospect for us. And then Jack Caglianone's been crushing balls since coming off DIL and AAA for 16 games there as well. Because that's the one thing I'm looking at. Tough matchups here with some of the pitching, but the offense is going to need to get going a little bit more for the Royals to make this final push here. And yeah, you're putting the eggs in the basket of rookies, and I generally hate that, but it is what it is at this point. I think both those guys, if they get hot, they give you a lot of thump from the left side. So we'll see. At least the Royals have some options from within.
Never wrong, just early. Michael Garcia is going to be a 5-win player this year.
It's crazy. It's crazy.
Sticking with Michael Garcia, one of the great decisions of my life. That's how good Michael Garcia has been just this season. Again, these stats aren't even updated from the last game, but he's hitting close to 300, 128 WRC plus, playing great defense, got 15 jacks, 22 stolen bases. Might be a 20-25 guy with great defense at third base, being 30% better than a league average.
And he
hitter.
can play shortstop for a lot of other teams. Like, that's the thing.
Royals found a gem here. Yeah. Let's move over to, we only got a few series left. Cubs versus Rockies. Game 1, Cubs win 11-7. Dansby opened the scoring with his 20th of the year, and then Ian Happ launched his 17th 2 innings later. Yanquiel Fernandez homered in the 4th to bring the Cubs lead down to 3-2, but then Chicago just exploded. PCA, Happ, Dansby, and Shaw all drove in runs, totaling 6 in the inning. Dansby homered again in the 7th. Bush followed that up with his 26th of the year. Kyle Farmer homered in the 8th. Just wasn't enough. Shout out Cade Horton. First career start at Coors, always going to be tough, but he was really solid. 5 innings, 2 earned, 6 hits, 4 strikeouts. His ERA is still under 3 at 2.92. Game 2, Cubs win 4-3. 1-1 game going into the 5th, where Ian Happ stayed hot, doubling home the second Cubs run, and then Carson Kelly sent home the third on a sac fly. Kyle Tucker drove home the fourth in the sixth on a single, and they needed it as Moniak tripled in the sixth to drive home the Rockies' second run, and Hunter Goodman drove home the third on a sac fly, but that Kyle Tucker RBI single ended up being the difference again. Cubs win. Game 3, Rockies win 6-5, avoiding the sweep. Seiya opened the scoring with a 2-run double in the third, but the Rockies immediately tied it up on RBI hits from Tyler Freeman and Brenton Doyle. Backup catcher Braxton Fulford tripled home the Rockies' third run, and then Orlando Arcia drove him home for the fourth, and then Brenton Doyle added one more in the seventh. Ian Happ clutched up, though, in the eighth, smashing a 3-run home run, no doubter, to tie it. But then
the shit out of it, too.
pimped the shit out of it. But then in the bottom of the ninth, Daniel Palencia, the Cubs closer, came in, threw 4 pitches, gave up a single and a triple to Mickey Moniak, and the Rockies walked them off. Cubs win the series. I still have questions.
Positive. Kyle Tucker's all the way back.
All the way back.
Which is
that
just
road trip,
so huge.
That road trip, he is just back to pulverizing baseballs.
438 since the start of the road trip. So 438 on the road trip. 3 homers, 7 extra base hits.
All right, so he's back.
He's all the way back. That's huge. But I am interested about the bullpen. Palencia's been good overall, but talk about heartbeats and stuff. My heart rate doesn't necessarily drop when I'm watching Palencia come in to close the game out right now. And I know it's hard to close it out, of course. I don't care what you say about, the Rockies lineup and everything, but like that was a quick death. That was a very quick death. I just and again, I love Palencia. It's not even a Palencia problem. Just what does this look like in the playoffs at the back end of that bullpen?
No, it's not even a Palencia problem because Palencia, this is like his first year doing this.
No, he's amazing. He's got
an ERA in the mid twos. It's just, and I think I know exactly what you're saying too. Let's say Boyd, Shota, Horton in the playoffs, give them 6 innings.
That could play. Those all that rotation. I can get behind that with the way Horton's pitching. He's just he's figured it out.
But it's like, how am I going to trust Andrew Kittredge, Brad Keller, Daniel Palencia?
That's my problem. And again, Palencia is awesome, but you're asking him to be like bullpen ace of the stars.
Keller's having a great year. His ERA's in the low 2s as well. Kittredge just came in and pitched perfectly fine. It's just like my brain can't compute.
And that might be an us thing. Like,
it might be an us thing.
They might just go out and do it. I think for my sanity, I would have liked to see a little bit more established reliever added. But at the end of the day, like if people always talk about offenses getting hot, if the bullpen gets hot for the Cubs, they absolutely make a run here. And because the offense is not a question, the defense is not a question overall. I love the way that they can mix and match this lineup now. They just added Carlos Santana, who I think in certain spots, you put him on the right side, for the short side of the platoon with Michael Busch. It's going to be nice. Like their bench, the way that they can utilize it, I love with the Willie Castro side of things too. They can mix and match like crazy, but they need the bullpen to get hot. Now I can't remember the last time I've said that about a team because they do have talented arms. Clearly, these guys have low ERAs and stuff like that. I just don't. And again, it might be a me problem. I just don't know how I feel about them in the postseason compared to some of these other guys. But vets blow saves too. Look at Manuel Clase last year. Although there might be more in hand. But
look at Jeff Hoffman this year for Toronto.
Yeah, exactly. So in the playoffs, vets blow them too. So who knows? But it's just something I can't fully shake in my head. And again, it might be an us thing.
And here might be another us thing too. But I have more questions beyond the bullpen. PCA, remember when I did that rant probably 3 weeks ago when I said is PCA's OPS going to start with a 7 to end the year? He's now down to 786 because his OPS in August arm is 464. The Cubs offense just gets a lot less scary when he's not playing like an MVP candidate. And it's a lot to ask for him, but it's a lot to ask from anybody when we're asking to go win the World Series. Yeah. Everyone's got to be playing at their best to go win a World Series. That's just the bottom line. When you don't have elite top-end starting pitching and an elite bullpen, you need an unconscious offense. Now that Carson Kelly doesn't have a 1,500 OPS or whatever he did for a while, and Dansby's been good, not great. Ian Happ is heating up a little bit more. Kyle Tucker is back, but PCA just... he's so dynamic. He adds such a level to this offense that it's almost like I can't even reflect it in the numbers or anything like that.
No, I get it.
The
I get it.
speed, the power, he's just such an unbelievable player. And when he is an auto out right now, all I'm saying is if I have questions about the bullpen, the starting rotation isn't locked down.
I think
The
it's
offense
fine.
has to be prolific,
Yeah.
but it isn't prolific when PCA is hitting like this.
I have faith that PCA could have that like Mark Vientos
Me too.
postseason and just go nuts. But yeah, they need him. They need him to be that. And I'm very excited to see what that looks like. But Tucker performing now, I think takes a lot of pressure off there. And Hap heating up takes a lot of pressure off there.
Yep,
Dansby heating up. Like it's also on these other guys. So to
definitely.
not make PCA feel like he has to play like an MVP candidate to carry this offense. But yeah, I do like the Carlos Santana edition. I still am going to believe in this offense. But yeah, I mean PCA has absolutely hit a wall when it's a 524 OPS over the last 30 games. That's tough.
And again, I don't have answers. I have questions.
Yeah.
PCA could absolutely heat up. This bullpen could absolutely lock it down, even though they aren't high profile names. The starting pitchers like Boyd and Shota and Cade Horton could
I've
come
talked
in and,
myself into them. I'm a believer now. I
yeah.
can't deny it.
All I'm saying is I just have questions. Let's
Yeah.
move on to we got two series left. Rangers versus A's. Game one, Rangers win 5-2. Rangers got out to an early 2-0 lead before Brent Rooker drove home two on a double, but that was it for the A's. Jonah Heim homered in the fifth, his 10th, take the lead, and then Michael Hellman delivered the finishing blow with his third home run of the year, a two-run shot. Jack Leiter
It's been
continues to
awesome.
dominate. He's been awesome. 6 innings, two earned, 7 Ks. His ERA is down to 3.77. Excited to ask you about him when we get to our takeaways. But we move on to game two. Rangers win 9-3. Rangers got out to an early 4-0 lead, which is all they needed. But then the runs just kept coming. I mean, Lawrence Butler and Brent Rooker broke up the barrage with home runs. But then Wyatt Langford hit his 20th home run of the year. And then in the ninth, new Ranger. Mariners fans, shield your eyes. Dylan Moore ripped his 10th home run of the year. Merrill Kelly, another quality start. What's new? Another solid season, posting a 3.24 ERA. Game three, Rangers win 9-5. Jock Peterson opened the score with a home run, and then Josh Young did the same thing the next inning. Josh Smith and Jock again followed it up with RBI doubles, and this game was just out of reach. A's would rally, wasn't enough. DeGrom, 5 innings shutout, obviously 6 Ks. His ERA is at 2.69, but it's clear the Rangers are limiting him as he was just removed after 79 pitches. How about Jack Leiter?
I mean, it's been an awesome stretch for him, and it's been a big reason why this team has kind of stayed afloat in the second half. You look at Eovaldi going down and DeGrom missing a couple starts. Jack Leiter's last 11 starts, he has a 2.88 ERA. He's striking out 28% of batters. And what I think we're seeing with him now is command. He's never going to be Greg Maddux in terms of the command, but he's gotten his secondaries to a point now where you have to respect them. Whereas when he was really struggling before, it was just the fastball was the one pitch he was really locating, and hitters would eliminate the secondaries. Now, like even if the slider isn't landing for a strike 65% of the time, he's landing it 57, 58%, and it's enough to where you have to respect it, especially with how much that lively four seamer is going to speed you up. And so now you look at the last 11 starts, he's mixing all of the secondaries in enough to where you got to think about them. And the changeup has just come along, and I think that's been a huge wrinkle for him. Is that's a pitch he didn't even really have, and now that's been one of his best pitches, working off of that fastball, and he's just been fantastic. So I'm really happy for him. Still just 25 years old, by the way. Talk about like a prospect and name fatigue guy. People are talking about, oh, is this a big bust or whatever it was going to be, and like here he is throwing as well as anybody over the last month and change, and still just 25 years old. So great series for the Rangers too. And every time I think they're going to fade, they insert themselves right back into the conversation.
100% Wyatt Langford in the second half has been awesome. 266, 387 OBP, 453 slug for an 840 OPS, hitting bombs, stealing bases. I think this is the Wyatt Langford that we thought could come immediately, but I think we were just a little quick on him. I think we were a little quick. I think a lot of people were really quick. I think he was one of the most bet players to win MVP this season.
Yeah.
I think everyone's just getting a little bit too ahead of themselves. But in the second half, again, he's really showing like why everyone made those MVP picks.
But it was just same conversation, right? It's different because he got to a point of being a solid big leaguer a little bit quicker than Jack Leiter. But I think we forget sometimes that these guys are 23, 24 years old.
Yeah.
Like Langford's 23 years old and skipped through the minor leagues pretty quickly and has held his own in the big leagues. But it's like, okay, well, why isn't he a star yet? Well, because it's hard to be a star. It
Why
doesn't mean
didn't he
he's not
win
in there.
MVP in it? Why didn't he win MVP? I'm disappointed.
Right. So he has been awesome. And I think that's been a big part of their jolt. And Adolis, since coming off the IL, has been great as well. So we'll see if they can keep themselves in the conversation here. But they have so far over the last couple weeks to just kind of stay in the hunt.
Well, that's another guy. Adolis has to be better.
Yeah. And he has been since the IL return. So we'll see.
We'll see. All right, let's move on to our last and final series. Certainly not least. Braves versus Phillies. Game one. Phillies win 2-1. Marsh and Profar traded RBI singles in the second and fourth, but the final blow was delivered by Alec Bohm in the eighth on a sac fly. They really wasted a great Bryce Elder start. 7 innings, 3 hits, 1 earned, 3 punchies. Ranger Suarez, crazy start. In and out of trouble all day, but got the job done. 5 innings, 10 hits, 1 earned. ERA down to 3.02. Braves went 2 for 12 with runners in scoring position, leaving 10 on. I was watching the game. That was just a disaster. Game 2, Phillies went 3-2 in 10 innings. Weston Wilson opened the scoring with a home run, and then Christopher Sanchez kept the Braves bats quiet until the 6th when Matt Olson tied the game up with an RBI single and no runs for the rest. So we go to extras. Nacho Alvarez drove home a run in the 10th, but Trey Turner would have the last laugh, knocking home 2 on a single to win it. Sanchez just continues this incredible season. 7 innings, 1 earned, 8 punchies. His ERA is down to 2.66. Sale was also fantastic in his return from the IL. 6 innings, 3 hits, 1 earned, 9 Ks, and we're recording during Sunday Night Baseball. Let me see the box score right now. So we got the Phillies up 1-0. What inning is it? We are in the, I'm on Baseball Savant. Why don't they show me the damn inning? Bottom of the 5th. There we go. Maybe I'm just blind. Who's doing well right now? Luzardo is shoving.
Love it.
5 innings, 1 hit,
Wow.
no runs, 7 punchies. And Waldrop on the other side is doing really well. 4 innings, 1 run, 5 Ks. Another pitcher's duel, as neither of these two teams can hit right now.
I mean, if they have that version of Luzardo in the playoffs, it's a different story. But everyone can say that, right? That's not any hard hitting analysis. Waldrop, it's a different Waldrop, and I'll link it in the episode description. But sat down with him before or after his last start in Miami, because I'm like, dude, you're a cutter sinker guy now. Like, so that was a really fun conversation about how he learned this. He learned those pitches in 2 days. He realized that he's like just such a heavy supinator that he just needed to adjust to grip a little bit and he could start throwing a cutter. And then people don't realize, but like cutter is essentially the same throw as a sinker if you just let the grip take care of it. And so he has a 2-seam grip and it's a nasty sinker now. So those 2 pitches have changed everything for him because then it sets up that elite splitter even better. And you got to respect multiple pitches. Before he was just 4-seamer splitter. So it was really fun talking to him about that. Learned some new things about pitching, pitch design, stuff like that. And really nice guy also. So it was just a fun conversation. That's linked in the episode description. Would definitely love for you to check that out. But I was really hoping, one, I wanted to get the story out because I'm like, shit, he's going to get teed off on Sunday Night Baseball at the bank, and my story is going to be null and void. So I got it out on Friday. But here he is, turning in another great one so far.
And I want to have takeaways about the Phillies, but this is a series that is kind of very Phillies-esque. Christopher Sanchez shoves. Ranger Suarez only allows 1 run. But what are my takeaways from the offense? They didn't do anything. The Braves are just being the Braves, finding ways to lose. Like
Except for the first game of the series.
First game of the series is 2-1.
Wait, what am I missing here? I'm looking at 19-4.
Oh, crap. I missed game 1. Was it on Thursday?
Yeah.
Phillies fans, I missed it. I'm sorry. I missed it. 19-4.
The Schwarber 4-home run performance.
Oh, my God. Phillies fans, I screwed it up. Screwed it up, Phillies fans. Kyle Schwarber hit 4 home runs, which is rarer than a perfect game, and I didn't even write up the game arm.
I have a question for you. I feel evil for this because I love Schwarber. But did you want him to hit the home run, the fifth home run off the position player?
Of course.
I didn't.
You thought it would.
I want it to be, and I don't know if it's ever going to be done the right way. Like I feel like I'm such a loser for saying that, but like, there's something about the fifth one, like, oh, iconic. Here's the first ever, and the fourth is crazy. The fourth was off of a real pitcher too, but something about the record breaker being off of a position player, I don't know. I don't know.
I
I'm
gotta
curious
be
what people
honest.
think.
I got to be honest. I'm in my own head about missing the 19-4 game and riding up Kyle Schwarber's 4 home runs. I'm in my own head about it. It's a great failure by me, and I don't want to make this about me, but I am rattled. I screwed it up for Phillies fans. They're waiting till the end of the episode to hear the roundup. Their guy,
Well,
Kyle
I know why
Schwarber.
you did it at the end. Don't try to like play it. It's because Cal Quantrill started on the other side.
I have no idea what you're talking about. That is an
Because Cal
assassination of
went
my
three and a
character.
third, 9 hits, 9 earned. You just Men in
Well, think
Black
about
tried to
it. He didn't give up 10. It's better than that.
you tried to pretend the game didn't happen.
Did I do it? Is that deep in my subconscious? The Cal is so deep in
That's
there.
actually insane.
I gotta go to
I
a
actually think you did
therapist.
that
I gotta go to a
subconsciously.
therapist now.
Yeah, you need to
Talk about.
you need to untether your emotions to his failures and successes.
Has anyone noticed the only signed Kyle Quantrill Rockies jersey in existence back here? Fire.
This
Fire.
is sick. But yeah, so that, by the way, the third homer or the fourth homer. I tweeted the swing open side from Schwarber. It's one of the craziest home run swings I've ever seen. He
Oh my
barely
God.
moves. He just flicked the bat, like didn't even pivot. One arm swung it, and it went 101 the other way. And
What's
everyone's
he
like,
gonna
juice balls. No, shut up. It's not juice balls. It's a freak of nature power hitter. It's the opposite of juice balls this year, actually. He's a nut with the amount of power that he can generate. And that was, yeah, I mean, those home runs were insane. Juice balls, they're from the third deck. If they weren't, he could have hit a sock and it just would have went 15 rows deep instead. It drives me nuts.
I mean, anyone calling Kyle Schwarber's 4 home run performance a sham because of juice balls can't rub two brain cells together. I mean, are you kidding? Kyle Schwarber, the guy who's at 50 this year or close to it,
Still
because of
not a
juice
top 100
balls?
player.
No, I refuse to believe that. But maybe I also refuse to believe that he even hit 4 home runs
Yeah,
because
it
Cal
didn't
didn't
happen.
start.
It didn't happen. That was a fever dream.
All right, we're going to end the episode and I'm going to go hit therapy. Maybe I have something deep down that I need to get over. But hopefully everybody enjoyed the weekend roundup. It was so good to be back. Get those fingers ready. It was time for the weekend roundup where we went through every game that was over the past weekend. For Arm Layden, I'm Peter Apple. Make sure to get yourself some Just Baseball merch. Both of us are rocking our hats right now.
Touchdown Canes. I hope everybody hears from a happy me tomorrow, by the way, as well.
It is so funny. You said that you weren't really into college football.
It's
You
the
were
only
like,
team I care
I'm
about,
a
though.
Canes fan, but then now like kickoff is happening, and you're like, but you're a huge Canes fan. You want them
Ellie
to
said
win.
she's never seen me care about a team like very much before, and then she saw me at the Canes Virginia Tech game last year where we almost lost on a Hail Mary. And she said, I've never seen you like this before. I'm like, yeah, it's just embedded in me from when I was a kid. And they've just disappointed me so many times. And Notre Dame, dude, I can't stand Notre Dame and their curated schedule. And don't get me started. So I would be really upset if we lost this game.
Well, Arm's gonna go watch the Canes game. I'm gonna go to therapy, and hopefully everybody else has a great Monday to the start of the week. Again, hopefully you enjoyed this episode. Best way to support, rate, and review on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, 5 stars, as well as joining our Discord. Best baseball group chat in the world. You can find the link in the episode description. Again, for Arm Layton, I'm Peter Apple. See you tomorrow. With that, thank you, everybody.